I'm like, the podcast is, it's for everybody. Anybody that values freedom and values the American way of life. There is an emphasis on the church and fellow members, but it's really for everybody, you know. So, but then again, you might not want to have thin skin. We're not preaching contention. We're not preaching violence. We're not condoning any of those things. We're actively trying. We're in a prevention role.
Yeah.
We're trying to keep these things from happening if we can reignite that spark, and get people to love their liberty and love their Constitution and their nation again. And we can spread that. It doesn't have to get violent, and that's the optimal outcome.
That's the goal.
That's your duty as a man. Stand, fight, and protect what's yours.
That's toxic masculinity.
Women can do things that we can't do.
When it comes down to it, I boiled it down to 2 roles that I have for them. For them to realize that that's my roles. 1, to help them stay safe, and 2, to help them learn how to make good choices.
I've got a doll in my truck. I've got a doll in my truck. Yeah. Let's talk about old Ruth Bader. Anybody that would profit off of the suffering of the innocent is a true monster. Killing people is a big enough burden on your conscience as it is. Being justified, not being justified, I don't want to imagine what that's like, especially if it's against somebody that's completely defenseless.
Completely innocent.
Yeah. Americans. Do you know how many we lost in the Civil War? 438,000. Do you know how many we lost in World War II?
No.
I think it's
I wouldn't.
about 408,000. So you're looking at 862,000 people in 2 of our biggest, bloodiest conflicts. And they're still far off from
That's like
innocent babies killed
half the
in
number
the
of
United States every year.
It's very lovely. I don't know.
It was very nice.
Yeah, it was nicely put out. It was nicely organized.
Are you going to finish knitting a doily after this?
I feel like I need a little crumpets and tea and.
So, and my grandma, bless her dementia-riddled mind, said, "Oh, well, that's nice. Dementia and Alzheimer's is not funny, but sometimes it may afford you a good laugh."
This is by Neil A. Maxwell, and he said, "You are a generation drenched in destiny. If you are faithful, you will prove to be a part of the winding up scene for this world, and as participants, not merely as spectators. Though on later occasion, you might understandably prefer to be the latter." You shared that on our Facebook group.
I did. If you haven't liked our page, please do so, and then please make other people aware of what we're doing and the awareness that we're trying to spread.
Moving on with David O. McKay, what he said, kind of in relation to this, he said, "It is part of our theology that the Constitution of the United States was divinely inspired, that our republic came into existence through wise men raised up for that very purpose. We believe it is the duty of members of the Church to see that this republic is not subverted either by any sudden or constant erosion of those principles which gave this nation its birth."
James Burgess related that the prophet, while addressing the Nauvoo Legion several miles east of Nauvoo in May 1843, said that the time would come when the Constitution and government would hang by a brittle thread and would be ready to fall into other hands, but this people, the Latter-day Saints, will step forth and save them.
When I think of our Constitution falling and being brittle, I think of our people being brittle. Of us not, I think of, you think of your rights that you have. Our founders felt those were self-evident, that they were obvious if you just sat and thought about it. But how many people go to the government to look for your rights? Do you know what I mean?
People who would put you in chains. It's the first chance they had.
The government doesn't give you your rights. If you forget who you are, if it's not self-evident to you what your rights are,
That you were an individual.
then you're what you said last week. You're a free-range human, or is that what you called it? I love that. That was so good.
Free-range human. The entire notion of forming this nation was individual liberty. It was the entire precedent of forming this nation. That man is capable and should live his own life, make his own decisions, be his own man.
A government. Silence in the face of evil is itself evil. God will not hold us guiltless. Not to speak is to speak. Not to act is to act.
This has been episode 3. Thank you, all 4 of you.